We're here. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the show with Stock Markets with Bruce. I'm your buddy, Uncle Bruce. It's nice to see you here today. It's Tuesday, July the 25th, 2023. It's great to have you with us today. The markets looked like they had a positive opening going a few minutes ago, but the Dow has just had a slight negative move, or down 13 points. Nothing terrible, just a slight negative glitch coming in here. We're only up a point on S&P, but NASDAQ is up 45. So it's a mixed market. The tech-heavy NASDAQ is rising. The dividend-heavy Dow Industrial is off a bit. Oil down a dime at $78.64. It's July 25th. I'll remind you, this is the height, the top height, the maximum level of the US and Canadian summer driving season. This is it right here. We've been in this now for 3 weeks. The beginning of July, with July the 4th, this is the height of the summer driving season for July and August. And here we are right in the middle of it. And gas or oil is $78 a barrel in Texas. A huge problem and disappointment for the folks over in Vienna who run OPEC. The OPEC countries are very disappointed in the fact that oil is not $120 a barrel, $130 a barrel. Everything they need is going their way. They have a war in Yemen. They have problems between Iran and everybody when it comes to the security of oil tankers in the Straits of Hormuz. They have a war in Ukraine. They have the Russians putting nuclear weapons into Belarus and threatening Europe with that. They have China lining up with the Russians, saying the Russians are our pals, we'll be there forever, we'll never abandon them, blah, 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 blah. We have the Chinese threatening the Taiwanese. So the Americans are busy doing that. We got the North Koreans launching ICBM missiles into the Korean Sea. We got Japan all pissed off at North Korea. We got everybody upset. Everything is going OPEC's way. You couldn't ask for a better scenario to have oil at $120, $130 a barrel. Uncertainty everywhere, and yet not happening. And why is oil not hitting these highs? And these aren't record highs. I'm not talking about $200 a barrel adjusted for inflation. I'm not talking about these kinds of prices. We're at $78 a barrel. If you take the inflation rate over the last 30 years, so if you 50-year-olds think about when you were 20, or if you're a 35-year-old, think about what the world was like when you were 5 years old and you were with mom and dad, or your mom, or whoever, you're home. The parents who grew you up, raised you, were dealing with oil and gas at that time, 30 years ago, at $78 a barrel today. You know what that means? That's $40 oil, maybe, from 30 years ago. It might be $30 oil. So we're talking about $1.20 a gallon back then. We haven't had a price increase in gas in 30 years, adjusted for inflation. I know you guys are saying to me, oh, yeah, well, when I tank up over at so-and-so, it costs me $80 to fill up my damn car, truck, whatever I'm driving. Yeah, I know. But you were complaining just as loudly, and your parents were complaining, and your grandparents were complaining 30, 40 years ago, just as loudly, that they were paying $25 to fill the damn tank up. It used to only cost $8. Now it's $25. God damn it. It's the government, 40 years ago, oh, it's Obama. What? There was no Obama. No, there's going to be. Someday this country's going down the tubes. Okay. Welcome to 2023, everybody. The old folks in our society, the faces change. That's all. That's all that happens, really. If you ever get one of those, they used to produce these books. In the old days, companies used to make books. Now, what's a book? What does a book look like? Because there's some of you who don't know what a book is. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like something like this. It has a cover on it, It's thicker than the pages in the middle. Okay, as a cover on the back, and in the middle are pages with words on them that never erase. It doesn't require batteries or software to operate. And these would be in people's houses in shelves. If you ever seen pictures of a library on Google, you'll know what a book is. There used to be books that were produced by outfits, different names. One of which was Time Life, the old Time Life books that used to come out, and they would be like 1980, 1981. It'd be a huge coffee table size book, 1982. Well, you'd open the book up, and a lot of you folks who are in my age, certainly in my age group and older, would remember that this is the gift you would get at Christmas time from one of your younger relatives who were clueless as to what you really wanted for Christmas or could really use, because they didn't ask. And they also found the book on sale at Barnes and Noble for $9.99, regularly $29.99. They would pull a fast one. They would buy the damn thing super cheap and then wrap it up, and you would be presented with this book that was supposedly a $30 gift 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Anyway, the book of 1980, the book of 1975 would have the year in chronological order, and you would just go through each page, and it would tell you January the 1st, January the 3rd, January the 7th, 9th, 10th, all the way through the year. History, pictures, and stories. These used to come out in book form. Okay, now it comes out in computer form, but we don't look at those books on a computer or a tablet like we did in the real version. Completely different. Even back in the day, we used to complain about the same stuff we complain about now. There's no difference. Mankind has not changed at all. One of the things that mankind hasn't done either was revealed about an hour ago, approximately. If you were here for my rant a few minutes ago for my Trade Alert, the Trade Alert show for Gold Bagel members, you'll have to forgive me, but about an hour ago, General Motors came out with their earnings for their latest quarter, and they did the predictable. They were able to beat their estimates as to what they were supposed to generate, and then they raised guidance for the second half of the year. And there's a wonderful, happy, smiling face of the GM chief executive, Mary Barra, on this article here on Market Watch. This is a picture, I don't know, a year or two ago. She's smiling and so happy. But boy, if you were to take a closer look at her image, you would be horrified at the lines under her eyes, the puffiness. This woman does not look good. She looks to be in pretty rough shape. But I got to hand it to her. She has dedicated her life to this company. But boy, does it show on her face. In any event, God bless them. But here's the thing. The company said earnings growth was driven by demand for new trucks and SUVs. And they expected to make $1 billion more profit than expected. Well, for a company that generates $44 billion in revenue here for the quarter, $1 billion more in profit. I mean, what's this? 1 percentage point improvement, 2 percentage point. This is hardly earth-shattering, phenomenal performance. I mean, give me a break. It's just it's a rounding error. Let's get real. It's a rounding error in the accountant's office, and $1 billion with 1.4 billion shares outstanding. I mean, pennies per share differential. But boy, are the guys and girls in Wall Street ever happy. Oh, they're delighted. By the way, the stock's unchanged this morning. The stock is unchanged. It hasn't. It's the same price. It hasn't been. Anyway, Here's the thing, okay? Here's this thing. It's 2023, okay? We stopped landing, we as the human race, okay? I'm not taking credit for this as my accomplishment, all right? Um, we humans, and especially here in the West, the democracies of the world, we stopped landing men on the moon in 1972. That's the last time we had a man walk on the moon. We only had men on the moon from 69 to 72, and then we haven't had anyone go back anymore. We couldn't land a man on the moon in the next 2 years if we tried. We don't have the will and the dollars to put a program together to do it because there's no political will to want to do it anyway. The technology exists, yes. We could probably send a man to, I guess, to Mars, but I don't see that in my lifetime. But in any event, we haven't changed much in the last 30, 40 years. We really haven't. We've adopted new technologies, yes. Did you know that solar panels were invented in America in the 40s? Did you know that? The 1940s, solar panels were invented in the lab in America. They could have been mass produced economically since the early 60s in America, in the Rust Belt, where they could have phased out production of inefficient technology product and brought in solar panels. And homes could have been designed starting in 65, 68 with solar roofs as a standard thing in all the new suburbs across the United States and Canada. But it wasn't. So when we were watching television in 1970, watching man walk on the surface of the moon, and they were setting up these experiments, 150 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet away from the LEM on the moon's surface, they would set up these experiments that they would unfold these units, and they would have solar panels on. This is 1970. And these solar panels would suck in sun's rays and power this machine with a little battery on board for the next 6 months, a year, whatever. Experiments would be done on the surface of the moon, and the power generated by this machine would then allow the machine to talk to the guys back in Houston or the JPL laboratory in California going forward. So in 1970, solar panels were on spaceships. They could have already been on houses, and we could have had the United States and Canada and all of Europe covered with every factory, every shopping mall, every home, every strip mall. We would have had solar panels everywhere built into the technology of the buildings, and we would have been generating electricity to the tune of gazillions of megawatts. I don't know how many would have been produced. And we would have had billions of less burned gases in our atmosphere in 2023 than we have now. But that was not done. And it was simple. It's not what the customer wanted, was the answer given by anyone who asked ever, why aren't we doing this? It's not what the customer wants. Well, what did the customer want in 1965? What did my father want in 1965? Because in 1965, he was 36 years old. 36-year-old guy with 3 kids, house in the burbs, and he was driving a big old Chevy Biscayne car with, at that time, a 6-cylinder engine and a standard 3-on-a-tree transmission. He had the cheap one. Neighbors up and down the street where we lived had V8 powered Impalas, Caprice, Galaxy 500s, and all kinds of other cars with the big fat V8 engine and the automatic transmission. What did he want, and what did they want? All my dad's neighbors want from their electrical scenario. They wanted cheap electricity, and they were getting it because we invented nuclear power stations. Southern Ontario, where I lived as a kid, the Pickering power plant just outside of Toronto, city of 5 million people today, has a nuclear power plant 30 miles away from downtown Toronto. If you're the Russians and you want to annihilate Southern Ontario, you just send the missiles over to that nuclear power plant and blow the bejesus out of it. And you've got nuclear Armageddon in Toronto. Pretty simple. It doesn't take much imagination. Nuclear power plants all around Philadelphia, Washington, New York, Boston, name your city. Just send some cruise missiles and knock them out. You got Armageddon. You don't even need the bomb. I mean, in any event, cheap electricity was available in 1965. Why would my father have any interest in putting in a brand new technology called solar panels onto a house that's been built 10 years ago? He wouldn't want to do that. And the government of the day, whatever government was running Washington, Canada, any of your states, any of the provinces, none of them would have, in their wildest dreams, have made it mandatory that every new home built now from 1965 forward must have the latest technological advancements of solar panels built into the houses. Because of that legislation, had that been passed, solar costs would have plummeted to be just as competitive as anything else. And homeowners would have been given tax breaks to compensate for the increased cost because the investment would have been made by society into this technology to reduce carbon emissions from non-nuclear plants, and we wouldn't have to build any more nuclear plants that are ultimately poison scenarios. Where do you put the spent aluminum rods, uranium rods, not aluminum? Where do you put the uranium rods after they're used up? Canada has a huge problem with this stuff. So does America, and so does everyone else. No one wanted to address that because the solution was already made. We have cheap electricity and will always have cheap electricity, they said in the 1960s. There were ads on television in the 1960s. For those of you who weren't born yet or were barely born at that time, I just want you to know that there were ads in the mid 60s till about the mid 70s that said that it was inefficient for office buildings to shut their lights off at the end of the day. They just left the lights on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because if you turned the lights off and then you turned the lights on 7 days a week or 5 days a week during the week and left them off on the weekends and then you did it again, the switches would wear out. And it would cost more money to replace the switches than the amount of electricity that you're burning to keep the lights on. That was the argument from the power companies in the 60s and 70s to us. The incredibly educated North American people had just landed man. We're landing man on the moon in 1969. Don't worry, it's coming. Invented the solar panel, invented the microwave in the 40s, and all kinds of other inventions. The magnetic levitated train was invented in the United States of America in the late 60s. American invention, perfected at places like MIT and other universities, world-renowned, respected institutions. And these technologies were developed overseas by entrepreneurial companies, and products were brought back to America, like the microwave, to be sold to Americans at full retail, with no jobs created in the USA because of it, other than retail jobs to sell them. Amazing. We have not changed in 50 years all that much. And this morning, to bring it back to today, General Motors proudly announces that they think they're going to make $1 billion more in profit for the second half of the year versus previous estimates, and that they beat their numbers, their expected numbers, this past quarter. And it all comes down to one product, one item that they produce that others produce, but GM does it well. They can produce pickup trucks and SUVs for very low costs versus what they can get for them. What General Motors can charge you for a brand new pickup truck with every bell and whistle ever invented by the automotive industry, stunning how much money they can get. $91,000 for a Denali loaded up whatever vehicle at GM. You want to buy an extended cab, quarter ton pickup, half ton pickup at GM with the fancy wheel coverings and the leather interior and the dual climate control and the electronic everything and the smart technology that GM has put into this antiquated frame of a piece of crap vehicle, these guys are getting $91,000 with their dealership networks from saps, that's you, saps who are stupid enough, idiotic enough to buy this garbage. The number of Americans and Canadians who are dying to buy a brand new pickup truck is stunning, is absolutely mind-boggling. You talk to individuals one-on-one in private and say to them, you know, if you were to buy this brand new truck with all the bells and whistles, you're only getting 18 to 25 miles a gallon because you live in the city. You don't live in the country. Most buyers of pickup trucks in the USA and Canada do not live on a farm. The pickup truck was designed for farmers. The bed in the back was designed to move manure, feed, shovels, picks, farm equipment. That's what those were for. Right? They're not that anymore. Yes, there are farmers who today do buy pickup trucks. Oh, absolutely. Ranchers and all kinds of farmers. But not tens of millions of them. Because there aren't tens of millions of farmers anymore like there were in the 40s and the 50s. We've changed. The farms today are massive, huge industrial operated facilities that have to run on an economy of scale. You cannot have 50-acre farms all across the United States and Canada and produce grain, corn, soy, beans, and everything else, and cattle, pigs, turkeys, and chickens. Can't do it on tiny little plots of land. Can't be done. You need massive, huge, economically viable operations to run these operations, which means that theoretically a farm family might run a farm of 5,000 acres, 3,000 acres, 1,000 acres, sections and sections of land. They bring in help when they need it to get the crop off, and then they let people go and just run the farm on their own the rest of the year. The number of pickup trucks required by the farming community of North America is a fraction of what was ever needed in the 50s and 60s. So who buys these vehicles? Who is buying these extended cab, massive machines? The upper middle class in suburbia. That's who's doing it. And it's evident right here in Calgary. I'm in Cowtown here, 1.5 million people around here. Very well-to-do demographic city. We live off of oil and gas revenues. I mean, if we're the guiltiest party in the world to be driving pickup trucks, we are the ones. But there are pickup trucks in downtown Dallas, downtown Denver, downtown Houston, oil cities, oil and gas towns, like you can't believe. And they're not the basic pickup truck that is used to haul hay. You are talking about executive families of executives with white collar jobs in the oil patch driving fully loaded luxury liner pickup trucks all over North America. How many pickup trucks are there in the northeast of the United States where they don't belong? How many pickup truck drivers are in the suburbs of Atlanta, the suburbs of Miami, the suburbs of Phoenix? How many pickup trucks are there in California? It is stunning how many there are. Absolutely stunning. Of course, if you go to certain parts of Los Angeles and go to the Palm Desert, Palm Springs area, you'll be shocked at how many Teslas there are versus big old gas burning pickup trucks. Teslas rule in those areas. But the rest of this country, rest of the US and Canada, rural Saskatchewan and Winnipeg and Vancouver and whatever, the pickup trucks rule. It is pathetic. It is a statement that we are making to our own humanity, saying we don't give a crap about the environment enough to not want to buy a pickup truck. We just don't care. And We figure if it's really hot out, we just turn the air conditioning on inside our big fat pickup truck and stay cool. And if it's really cold out in the winter, we just turn on the seat heater and the climate control kicks in and keeps the inside of the truck at 72 degrees. We don't have to worry about it not working. Simple as that. The highways of North America are designed for massive vehicles to come and go. So there's no problem there. And many of you know that your local highways are crap. You've got potholes all over the place. And so what do you drive? What do you want to drive? The big fat pickup truck with the giant wheels to lessen the shock and the jolt from the highways that you're on. Because these small, efficient vehicles that are offered to you by the imports get jarred around by these roadways that we are on right now. And pickup trucks can handle the vibration a lot better. Plus, of course, if you're in a pickup truck or a big fat SUV like a Suburban, you're high up and you get to see the road better. And a lot of women use that as an excuse to drive their husband's pickup truck to the grocery store, head to Costco in a pickup truck and pick up the crap because I'm safe up here. And if a small car hits me, because I don't hit anybody, people hit me. People hit me, they hit the bottom of the truck. They don't hit me where I am and the children. And mom and dad go for that. And they fall for that argument every time. And so we burn gasoline. We burn the oil. Whether they're diesel vehicles or gasoline powered, we burn it. And we are so inefficient when it comes to the future generation, the current generation of adults. I'm phasing out. I'm in my late 60s. I'm out of here in the next 10 years. I'm not part of the demographic anymore. The 50-year-olds today will be 60-year-olds in the decade. They will be driving, if they can afford them, big fat SUVs and pickup trucks, just like their daddies before them and their grandpas before them. And we're supposedly the most advanced society ever created by mankind. And if you take a look at a book of the 1980s, and you see pages of life in suburbia America and Canada, what will you notice? What kind of vehicles were on the roads in the 1980s? You see these stock footages in movies of a highway with cars coming and going in time-lapse photography or slow motion, and you take a look at the kind of vehicles that were on the roads in the mid-80s and in the mid-90s, in the 70s, and today, and you'll be shocked at how many terribly inefficient vehicles were on the roads for decades. And we wonder, why is the climate so crazy right now? What's going on? And is there an 8-second repair job available to fix the environment of the planet now? Because I'm going to give you 8 seconds of my time to solve the climate crisis. Just tell me what I have to do, and I'll do it. And that's like the investors who used to follow this channel when I went on the air in January 2021, talking about why the market does what it does and how the market does what it does in plain English. And there would be 25,000 people watching my show, this show, live, along with 25,000 people watching all kinds of other YouTube channels at the same time. In other words, millions of people were desperately trying to find information about the stock market back in January 2021 because they were all locked at home. They couldn't go out. They couldn't go to work. They couldn't travel. And they couldn't bet on their favorite sports team anymore. So they decided to start wagering using their phones on the stock market. That is a technological advantage, a move up. No question about that. And they would watch me going, show me what to buy this morning that's going to go up 10 times in value this afternoon. And I will be loyal to your channel forever. Didn't have those kinds of investments available. No one did. And of course, millions of people left the stock market, left all these YouTube channels who just weren't giving them the lottery ticket win of the day. And certain channels disappeared forever. Certain channels got eliminated because of legal issues. And there's a couple of us still left who were not trying to promote a stock while owning it or trying to get people to do what we were doing as day traders. There's a few of us still on the air that are just giving our opinion on what we think's going on and trying to explain to you what's happening. Welcome to the party, pal, but let's get real. The world hasn't changed much in 50 years at all. And right now, the politics of the world in which we're in is absolutely identical to the politics we had 50 years ago. People try to tell me all the time, oh, the new politics today is so violent, Bruce. It's so vile. I can't believe we have these crazies. Once in a while, I get caught up in it too. Um, Let me tell you, back in the 60s, we had whack jobs also in society. Okay. There were whack jobs all over the place, including your family's Thanksgiving dinner table and Christmas dinner table every year, because either your grandmother or your mother, if you were the host, if your family was the host of the family coming into town for Thanksgiving, your parents or your grandparents, whoever were the hosts of that event in 1964, 66, they knew that certain whack job relatives are coming in and they're going to have to tolerate them and smile and serve them for one night only, Thanksgiving night. And when they finally leave the house and go wherever they're going, they're going to go, thank God they're out of my house. We had whack jobs in the 60s. We have whack jobs today. The only difference between the wackos of the 60s and today is that in the 60s, 70s, wacko people didn't have access to a broadcast tool the size of this. You remember Back to the Future when Marty McFly came back to 1955 to see Doc Brown by accident and so showed him the illustration of the flux capacitor and then showed him his JVC camcorder and how they'd use the wires to connect the camcorder to the black and white television. And Doc Brown is holding this camera and recorder in his hand, and he's going, no wonder your president has to be good on television. Look at this technology today. That's the change from the 60s to today. 1985 was halfway there. 20 years after 65, we had the JVC and Sony and Toshiba and Hitachi and all those camcorders, many of which had the tapes slapped in, and you could just take the camera and use it as a broadcaster, as a rewind tool, as a VCR to watch what you just created on a screen. Remember the next step when the camcorders were compact and they had the flip out screen and you could watch what you just recorded on the flip out screen and there was no tape. It was all digital. That was the next stage. Here we are now with this. And wackos who are smart enough or crafty enough or know somebody can get themselves set up with their own channel on YouTube or their own TikTok account, their own Instagram account, their own Facebook page, and they can put their opinions on this to the world, whoever wants to watch it. And some of these folks get a lot of views. Some of them don't get any views because they know they're wackos and they're not going to watch them. That's the difference. The wackos of the 60s could influence whoever they could see in person. The wackos today can influence the world if the world wants to watch and listen to them, and if they find a way to promote themselves. General Motors hasn't changed one damn bit since 1965. General Motors, Ford, the Chrysler Corporation, or whatever it is called now, whatever it is now, they're all the same. They are at the core, at the very, very core of their being. They're exactly the same companies now that they were then. Their number one objective, their number one mission, their number one thing to do is produce products that Americans want. That's all it is. They're not going to lead us into the future. General Motors and Ford are not going to come to us with products that are revolutionary. You remember when Steve Jobs went on stage in 2005 to announce the iPhone, whatever, I can't remember the exact year. You know which year I'm talking about. He went on stage and was going to show off something called an iPhone. That was revolutionary because there was nothing like it on the market whatsoever. A telephone, a music playing device, an internet communicator, a camera, not yet video, but soon to be video, internet capable in one unit that you can hold in your hand. Unthinkable. That was one of the last times an American corporation stepped up and said, we have something to change your life. And it blew the world away. It was a shocker. General Motors has never done that. Ford did it once. 1905, the Model T. They changed the world. Since then, it's just been takeoffs of Model Ts, just newer versions of and different types of. GM and Ford and Chrysler will never, ever take the country of the United States to a level that it had never thought was possible. They don't have to. They can make a ton of money by going to Washington with their lobbyists and making sure that it is next to impossible for any competitor to knock these guys off their perch. Next to impossible for any administration that ever had a notion of banning cars that burned electricity off the road. The lobbyists of the huge car companies will use every argument in the book that they've used for 60 years, 80 years. We have to keep jobs in America. You cannot afford to be a politician who voted against American jobs. The threat of politicians losing their livelihoods, being lifelong legislators, is so strong that the lobbyists of the auto industry have kept everything the same for decades. And you can thank your friends at General Motors and Ford and everyone else, and not the ones who are running it today. It's not their fault. They've inherited what they inherited. It's been this way since the early 1900s, through the war years and through everything else. We burn off, unbelievably, we burn a fuel that mankind has been pulling out of the earth since the early 1800s. We still do that. We refine it into various kinds of chemicals, gasolines and what have you. And we are gullible enough to still buy this stuff in 2023, put it into a tank in a vehicle we drive, and turn the key or push the button and believe that we are bettering the environment by driving a far more fuel efficient vehicle than our parents did. And we spew this gunk into the air and we don't see it because today's modern vehicle is designed to run and roll down the highway and you don't see smoke coming out the back end of the vehicle because we've created it in such a way that we've engineered it in such a way that the burn of the chemical is neutral to the eye. We don't see it. You see jets up in the air going across your sky. Occasionally, you'll see the white vapor trail behind the jets. Most of the time, you see nothing behind the jets. You don't realize how much gunk is being put up there every second of every day around the planet. We are fooled ourselves and allow ourselves to be hoodwinked by our very own beings, good meaning neighbors, great friends and relatives, and oh yeah, pension funds, best friends, auto stocks for decades, paying great dividends. We've been fooled by our own selves into poisoning ourselves slowly but surely. And there you are. And we haven't changed. It is 2023. I'm telling you, in 1973, when I was 16, 17, the talk around the dinner table, if I were to record it, if I would have recorded it and we're playing it to you now, 80% of what was being talked about then is what we talk about now. It's exactly the same crap. Maybe we talk sports, we talk about the sports figures of the day. We were talking about politics, we're talking about the political figures of the day. We're talking about countries and their policies, the countries of the day. It's the same crap, no damn difference. You might think that you're living in a cutting edge world and that the world is completely different than what it was 20 years ago. And what your parents said and did is old school stuff. And you're on top of the cutting edge world. I got bad news for you. Your grandparents were doing exactly the same crap you're doing now back in the 50s. before you were even a wink in the eye of any parent of yours. And automotives, car business hasn't changed very much, and the train business not so much. Solar panels are finally being accepted more and more, but it seems that the one group that seems to have been moved to make something happen on solar panel and wind farm type thing, governments. Governments have been convinced finally by their advisors that you got to go this direction. You can't build another coal-fired plant in Virginia to produce electricity for the Northeast USA. You're better off with wind farms and solar panels on existing structures and land that isn't used for anything else to produce this clean electricity. You're better off. And in 30 years, you're going to be thanked in 30 years at your headstone. When you're dead and buried, people will come to you and say, thank God you voted for that legislation in 1999 or 2015. Because here in 2060, we really appreciate the fact that you had the guts to do it. When at the time in 2015, 2020, 23, you were advocating for solar electrical production, wind production, other forms of clean energy. You were mocked. You were vilified. You were called an idiot. And in 2060, we say thank you very much. You're not going to be around to get that thanks. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Parents today, there are viewers of this channel who have parents that you've lost in the last 10 or 20 years. Parents you've lost mentally 5, 10, 15 years ago who are no longer with you in a mental sense. They're alive, but they don't know who you are. There are many viewers of this channel and friends of mine through all my lifetime, associates, who would dearly love to thank their parents for what they did in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s during their time, their prime years, where they made decisions that were not very popular either in the house or society as a whole. And kids today are going, they were right. And I never thanked my mom and dad for it. I never formally let them know that as now the adult that I am in charge of the family here, I didn't thank them. And if I tried to thank my mom and dad right now, unfortunately, one of them is 6 feet under and the other one is in a senior center and they don't know what day it is. And they will never know. And there are people who have guilt all over the place for not being able to say thank you to moms and dads. In the meantime, politics continues and people get elected by scaring the crap out of their electorate. And the good news about politics is that politicians come and go, and so do voters. And when you're a 20-year-old voter out of college, you think one way. When you're a 40-year-old voter with a job and a mortgage and kids, you think another way. And when you're a 65-year-old voter with no kids, you're retired, you might think another way. And your politicians of choice come and go as you age out, and you vote the way you want to vote. And every one of these guys and girls, these politicians, hire professionals to help them get elected and stay elected with the message that's going to resonate today. And you watch Back to the Future, Mayor Goldie Wilson, Mayor Herb Thomas in 1955 is the guy you wanted to make the mayor of Hill Valley. Low taxes and low regulations. And in 1985, you wanted Mayor Goldie Wilson to be the mayor of Hill Valley because of low taxes and lots of job creation and lots of opportunity. And in 2023, you want Goldie Wilson III to be the mayor of your town because of low taxes and great job opportunity. The message is tailor-made for the population of the day. Nothing has changed. Welcome, everybody, to the show. It's great to have you here. 12 minutes until we open up for trading. It's good to see you all here. Kids, Coffee Kids Trading, thank you for the thumbs up, number 64, DH Ruda, Zeta State. You guys are throwing up the thumbs ups already. I appreciate it. Uncle Bruce, all unfiltered. What can I say? Thank you all so much for being through here and hanging out with me. Steven is here. Steve Carney, how you doing there, pal? Welcome. Hold my pitchfork, says Touchgrass. Yep, kids. How many of you need a brand new pickup truck with the extended cab and the hitch in the back and the automatic climate control and the 8-speed transmission? Or are they now up to 10-speed transmissions? I think they are. I think they're even up to 10-speed transmissions now. These were invented decades ago. This stuff, these theoretical latest versions of the pickup truck, we've invented this crap in the 60s and 70s. We just keep evolving it. There is nothing new here to see at all. There's nothing new here to see. You go to your local GM dealer, your local Ford dealer, your local I don't care dealer, pretty well, you're going to see on the lot the same garbage that they were selling to me in the 80s, my dad in the 60s and 50s. If I had grandparents living in North America, same garbage in the late 40s or 30s. It is crap. The vehicles being offered by manufacturers, specifically North American manufacturers, is garbage, is complete, utter garbage. It is 40-year-old technology and worse that has been made to look pretty with this, like lipstick on a pig. We drive crap everywhere, and you go outside anywhere you want to go outside. I don't care what city or town you go to. There is garbage on our highways, and we have filth being pumped into them from our gas stations to this very day. We're still pumping in. Have you seen the lineups at Costco gas bars? Are you not embarrassed by that? I'm ashamed of my human race to see at my age in 2023 50 cars, 80 cars at a time waiting to fill up at a Costco gas bar to buy unleaded fuel for these ridiculous vehicles. It is embarrassing what's going on. And we let it happen. We let it happen, and we don't stop it. We haven't got the guts to stand up. We don't have the fortitude. We don't have the support, because as a human race, as a people, not individuals, I'm talking as all of us combined, we don't have the guts to make the move. But then again, we're so selfish and we're so self-centered on our needs and world. We don't go outside our box. Very few people do. And look what happens to these folks. The attacks, the vitriol, the special interests that come after people who dare to talk about a new world, a different way of doing things that is contrary to the big money interests that are running the show now. Are you out of your mind? People are afraid to stand up. They're terrified to stand up. Then there are countries out there where governments dominate the people so much that the people are terrified to stand up to stupid government policies. In France, they're not afraid to stand up to their government. Not at all afraid. The government is terrified of the French people. It's incredible. You ever go there, the attitude of the voters to their politicians is the polar opposite of Americans and of Chinese. It's incredible. What is amazing to me is how afraid Americans and Canadians are of their governments, just like Chinese people are afraid of their government. It's incredible. And yet one is a democracy and one is a communist run. It's absolutely amazing. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the policies are. It doesn't matter what the politics are. It's the attitude of the voting population. In Britain, they're not all that afraid of their government. Are you afraid of King Charles? Are you worried about getting decapitated by King Charles? I don't think so. Brits, the UK folks, are pissed off because they should be. But then again, they've got self-inflicted wounds that they're dealing with internally. The Brexit vote was exhibit number one. That one is going to be part of the British landscape for decades to come, unfortunately. Yeah, look, what can I say? We are a victim of ourselves, um, and all I can say to those of you watching me here live, you don't want to be beholden to the man, as they say. There's an expression from the 50s and 60s and 70s. You don't want to be beholden to a higher power that keeps you suppressed. Well, then you have to fight your way out of it, and maybe a very quiet way, a very calm way to make a change in your life, a radical change, actually. Um, Relatives of yours would never have thought that you would do this. That kind of change is where you become financially self-aware. You become just like in the Terminator. You become Cyberdyne systems with respect to your finances. You become self-aware of what your financial situation is, what the potential of your financial situation could be, and you make the changes and you take over the controls of your finances. Just like Cyberdyne Systems took over control of the US military in Terminator number 2. It's right there. It's in the movies. It's real. It happened. Cyberdyne took over. You now need to take over. You need to take over your finances. You need to take over your accounts. You need to know how to do it. You need to know what to do with your accounts. I keep reading articles all the time on these different publications. There's these questions to the editor. I'm 50 years old, and I have a house that costs me $2,500 a month for mortgage payments, and I have 2 children, and they're going to enter university in the next 5 years or so, and I make $100,000 a year, and I have my husband died, and I got an insurance policy for $600,000. And I don't know what to do with the money, and I don't know what should I do for the future. And I'm thinking, good God, you should be watching Uncle Bruce's channel for sure. You got to be here. My Lord, do you need help? These people they're out there adrift. Can you blame them for being panicked? I can't. I cannot blame people for being panicked. I cannot blame viewers of mine or non-viewers of this channel who are out there, who are just going through the motions, going, hey, I don't know what to do. I am told by my bosses at work, who I trust these guys because their paycheck never bounces, so I trust them. And I put in $200 every month into my retirement plan, and they put in $100 of it, additional. I'm saving $300 a month towards my retirement. I trust these guys. That's $3,600 a month that I would blow on beer if I had the chance. At least I'm saving that much, and it's compounding. And over 40 years, hopefully, I can retire on that. Have you ever done the math on that? You ever done the math on $3,600 a year times 40 years coming in? Even if you have compounded interest, you take off the fees to manage that money. There are people who are going to retire someday. That money isn't going to be there, or what they thought would be there isn't going to be there, or what could have been there will never be there. And that is the Cyberdyne system moment, where you realize, wait a minute, whoa. I got 150 grand in my retirement account at work. I've been pumping this money in here for like 15 years. My wife has money in hers. I got money in mine. And in 20 years, this is supposed to be worth $3 million. So I can retire, because in 20 years, I'm going to need $3 million. I don't need $3 million today to retire, but I'm going to need $3 million then. In 20 years from now, with inflation, come on, let's get real here. $1 million today is $3 million then. How in God's name is this going to turn into that? I don't see it happening. You've realized this. And then you figured out that if you were to take over control of your own investments, become an option writer, for example, with this group here, and not pay the management fees that are built into those lackluster returns you've been getting and are going to continue to get now at 150,000 to 170 to 190 to 220 to you are going to pay tens of thousands of dollars in fees on this pot of money going forward the next 20 years. You're going to make Fidelity and Schwab and Blackstone and all these other advisory firms. You're going to make them even more trillions of dollars collectively as a group. Or you're going to take your piece out and run it yourself, and you're going to turn a 150,000 into 3 million or to 5 million on your own. And you're going to say, okay, I did what I had to do. I grew up and I became an adult here and I took control of my future. Is this channel the conduit? Maybe. Maybe it's the beginning of the beginning. I don't know. This Saturday, join me live for class number 16. If you've never been part of my class before, live, I would encourage you get off your duff, cancel whatever plans you have for this Saturday at noon Eastern, take the afternoon off for yourself, join this gang right here and get your butt in here and take class number 16 with us, because class number 16 changes everything. I'm not kidding. I keep telling you this. I'm warning you in the nicest way possible. I am warning you that this class, lesson number 16, how to use other people's money to profit in the options market. This class is going to change worlds. This class is the Cyberdyne moment. Cyberdyne Systems. Yep, this Saturday. I don't like hyping stuff because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I feel comfortable telling you that this week's class is going to be a game changer. If you want in on this class, make a donation to that PayPal address down there that's scrolling across the screen right here. $150 US, send it in there, and then send me a private email at brucefarmer@hotmail.com and just say, I just sent you $150 on PayPal for class number 16, lesson 16. Here's my private email. For this email address is where I want you to send the link this week at just short of noon Eastern. Send the link to this address so I can log in. And you'll watch me right here, just like you watch me now, but on a private setting with the gang, a set number of the gang. And we will go over together lesson number 16, and I will show you stuff that's going to turn your hair blue. You're going to go, what? I can do what? You're telling me I can now do options on Tesla and Apple? I can't afford to do any options on Tesla. It's a $260 something stock. I can't afford even 100 shares of this stuff. And you're telling me I can now write 5 or 10 contracts on Tesla, on the triple Qs, on SPY index options? What? And you're showing me this is conservative, 85% success rate, typically. And that's if I don't do anything. I can also roll this stuff. Hello. It's going to be as revealing as what Larry Titus has just done right here. He's ringing the bells to yell at us. We're open. We're trading, Bruce. We're up and running here. We're going to shake a few things up on Saturday. Join us for that. The sooner you register, the sooner I can get you locked in here. But I'll tell you this. I've said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. I know many of you here, you love my rants, and you love it when I go up and down with all my thoughts and theories. And, you know, some of you are deep Republicans and just, you know, this socialist. I'm not going to listen to this guy. But you do listen to me and you tolerate me. It's okay. When it's all said and done, there are 208 people watching me right now, live. There won't be 30 people in the class this week. There will be 15 to 25 who will be there. And those folks in the next 6 months are going to make money in the options market that they've never seen before, because they're now ready for this stage, this next stage. They've taken classes 1 to 15. They've been here for months, years. They understand the basics of option writing, option buying and selling, cash secured put writing, poor man covered call writing. They know rollovers. They know stink bids, stink offers, the 90-10 rule. They know all this stuff because they've been here long enough. They know it. They're now ready to take on the next step. They're ready. and they're going, okay, show me. I'm ready to go, Bruce. I believe I've already had the moment where I took control of my life already. I've already done that. I'm now ready to take this next step. Show me how hedge funds work. Show me how mutual fund companies, show me how insurance companies maximize dollar returns to their portfolios to build cash reserves so that when they get claims for fire and earthquake and whatever, they've got the dough handy to pay out the claims. How do they make money in the market? They're not risk takers, these guys. The insurance companies do not gamble billions of dollars of premium money on long shot bets. They don't do that. Yet they're in the market all the time globally with all kinds of investment strategies. Show me how they do it. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to show you how to write options with other people's money and how you're going to be able to be involved in high cap stocks easily, and SoFi too, and AI and GameStop. We'll cover them all, but we're going to show you how institutional traders can do this, how you can do this on your scale, and you're going to be shocked at how little money you need. And that's going to show you, oh my God, now I understand what he's been talking about for years. This guy keeps talking about how hedge funds out there do billions of dollars of leveraged bets on all kinds of stuff all over the world. They don't have billions of dollars under administration. They only have millions. How are these guys affecting billions of dollars of trades when they only have millions of dollars to play with? Well, we're going to talk about how you can take thousands of dollars of capital and manage hundreds of thousands of dollars of bets conservatively. That goes against everything you believe in, isn't it? It makes no sense, because what you guys are so used to hearing all the time on CNBC and Fox News and anywhere else you go, all you guys are hearing about are these highfalutin hedge funds that are taking crazy leveraged positions in the market. And all you're led to believe is that these entities are about to blow up and lose trillions of dollars because they're gamblers like you can't believe. What you don't get told and shown, certainly don't get shown this, is nobody shows you on CNBC how conservative these strategies actually are. They don't show, because it's boring. It's boring. You don't want to hear this stuff. You want to hear news on the business channel, maybe not you specifically, but the public at large, to keep them engaged and watch the next batch of commercials. At CNBC, they have got to glorify everything that's going on in the market. And they have got to keep you from switching channels to somebody else. So what do they want to talk to you about? Oh, hedge funds making crazy bets on AI stocks, or a university student using $10,000 of student loan money to buy options and they turned it into $250,000. Those are the stories they're going to give you all the time, because that's going to keep you watching their channel to watch the next batch of commercials, because that's how they make their money. They've got your eyeballs and they want you to buy a Mercedes or whatever they're selling. A pillow. Is the pillow guy still advertising on CNBC? I don't even know. I don't watch it. I'm going to show you how the hedge funds out there make billions of dollars a year, and how the operators of these hedge funds live the high life from managing these dollars conservatively and live the life of luxury you will never know. I will do everything I can to try to help you become an upper middle class winner. I'll try to get you to that demographic, but I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time on this planet to get you into the stratosphere of billions. I can't do it, but I can get you well on your way to become a high-end middle class winner. And I'll show you the tricks of the trade of these high-end, very sophisticated traders out there who know exactly what they're doing. And I'll show you some conservative ways of using other people's money to become wealthy in the options market. It's available to be had. Once you watch me talk about it, you might decide, I really like this guy, Uncle Bruce. He's okay. I like following him. He's cute and all, you know. He's kind of like Marty McFly, you know. He's cute and all. George McFly. He's kind of like George, not Marty. Marty was cute, but yeah, George McFly. He's cute and all, but after I watch his class, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my own research from what he talked to me about. What he talked to me about. I'm going to then take that further and just see what this is all about. And I say, good on you. I say, well done. Yeah, that's okay. Because I know right now, I've already known that for all the time I have been on the air since January 2021, every day during market days, every time I've been on with you guys, I will tell you stuff about the market. I'll tell you stuff about options. I'll tell you stuff about, and a number of you out there verify that. You go check it out. You go and look to see if you can find more information that I've given you on said topic. And at the same time, you're noticing, he was right. Yep, that's right. What he said is true. Or, well, he said it this way, and I'm reading it that way. But all in all, yeah, he's on topic. You're going to do that here. You're going to do that with my lesson coming up this Saturday. All next week, all Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're going to take time from time to time to go out there and start doing additional research on what we're going to talk about on Saturday. And you're going to realize, yeah, he's right. That is right. There's so much more to it, though. He's only just scratched the surface. No wonder there's going to be in lessons 17, 18, 19, and 20. Yeah, he's going to bring those out. Of course he is. He's going to really get into this. But what we are going to see on Saturday is so different than what he's ever talked about before on a typical daily basis. Starting next Monday, his show is going to be different. The show he's going to do next Monday and next Tuesday and next Wednesday, he's going to be covering all this stuff as a regular part of his discussion now. I had better take the lesson to keep up with this guy. He's going to leave me behind. Now, I promise you, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will be talking about what we talked about on Saturday. Oh, for sure I will. But I will not purposely attempt to leave you in the dark, okay? But there will be a number of you who are going to ask, what does that mean? What is that strategy you're talking about? I never heard you talk like this, but what is that about? And others on this channel who comment here will kick in some color commentary. There will be color commentators saying, oh, he means this, or this is what we're talking about doing that and this and that. We're going down the road, kids. We continue to travel down the highway. And I'm trying to get you guys to the point where you've taken control of your finances. You understand what you need to do with your finances. You need to know how to structure your finances and now how to utilize your resources to maximize returns while you can before you have a brain aneurysm, lose your memory to Alzheimer's, get into an accident. Who knows what can happen to you if I get you set up today so that the next 5, 10, 15 years, you can go forth and multiply your dollars to levels you never thought possible. I will have done my job, and it's possible. It's just possible that for some of you out there who are not 25 and 35 and 40 years old, but are older than that, I may have given you enough time to salvage your retirement, salvage your golden years. Because where you're headed right now and where you've been headed the last decade has been on the wrong road. And only now, and only in the last year or 2 or 3, where you've had time while stuck at home to look at your financial statements, only now have you realized, oh my God, I blew it in my 30s and 40s. I totally screwed it up. And here I am in my 50s, and I got nothing. I mean, I got jack squat to show for my future. I'm screwed in my 70s and my 80s. If I live that long, I'm screwed. And what's worse, for some of you, what's worse is the nest egg you thought you were going to leave behind for the kids and grandkids isn't going to be there. You're actually going to be a drag on the family. You're not going to be a boost to the family. The family's going to have to subsidize you in your later years because you didn't set yourself up properly. I am hoping, I am praying that what we've been doing here for the last 2 years has taken this off the table for a bunch of you folks. A number of you tell me exactly that. You tell me exactly that. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep taking you and I'm going to keep dragging you forward like a reluctant mule. I'm going to pull on your nose. You come with me. Come on down the road. We got a highway to go down here. And these are better days ahead, better views coming on this highway than you've seen already. I look forward to seeing you Saturday. And if you can't make it, I understand. It's okay. The edited version of the class should be available by the end of next week on the website. You can pick it up then whenever you want. You're only a week behind. It's all right. Don't worry about it. If you come onto the class, of course, if you're in the class and you stay for the whole class or you leave halfway through, whatever, don't worry. You're going to get your own edited copy of the lesson once the editing is done anyway. So you're guaranteed to get the same class that people can pick up on the website a week later. But it's time to move forward with option writing strategies to another level. And so you're welcome to join us live Saturday noon Eastern for about 2.5 hours. I'm guessing. I don't know how long this is going to take. I got a lot to talk to you about. There'll be a ton of questions, I am sure. Jen will be the moderator. She'll keep me on the straight and narrow. We'll work this board hard on Saturday, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, thank you all for everything today. Thank you for being here. We now have thumbs ups coming in. We're now sitting on 133 thumbs ups. I thank you all very much for that. Thank you for those of you who've been making donations to me to say, Bruce, here's a donation. I'm in. We just got one here from David. David, I got it from Miami. I got you. Please make sure to send me, all of you, a private email confirming these donations. I also have one here from Alex. I got it. Right on, Alex. Beautiful. Thank you for the follow-up email. Fabulous. Like I said, folks, this is important here. I need you guys to send me a private email after you make your donation so that I have the actual email address for sure, because sometimes on PayPal they show an email address, but many times they don't. And I don't know where to send a link to for the live session. And I'm lost. I'm just sitting here going, okay, I know, Joe wants in on the class. Joe sent me the money, but I don't have an email for Joe. How do I send him a thing? I got to send him a link to the show. You got to help me out here, folks. So please do send a follow-up email to brucefarmer@hotmail.com and just say, hi, Bruce, I just sent you a donation for this Saturday's class. This is my email address I'd like you to use for the link. That will make it so much easier for me to get you linked in. Okay. Anyway, a couple more of you have made donations this morning. A couple of you did some last night, and then during the day yesterday as well. And again, I'm following up on them, and we're looking forward to the class Saturday coming up. I'm stoked about it. Very good, everybody. Thank you all. I'm in for Saturday. Giddy up. There it is. Marcus number 138. Thank you, everybody. I feel like we're all in the back of Uncle Bruce's station wagon right now. Holy moly. What else is going on? JR, of course, I took all the classes. I had a session with you as a one-on-one. That investment was well worth it. Thank you. We did good work on that one-on-one. Yeah, we did. Anyway, let's see what's going on here. JR says, Uncle Bruce, I had quite a surprise yesterday. Setting up positions. I realized I'm almost at your personal goal for me. $30,000 a month using option premium. I pulled in almost $25,000 using 700 Tesla, 2,000 AI, GNRC cash secured puts. Giddy up, man. That's exciting stuff. And 6 months ago, you wouldn't have done this for all the tea in China. You wouldn't have been able to do this. A year ago, not a chance. It's amazing, isn't it? It is shocking for viewers. After they've been here a while, they really are amazed at how quickly things start to click. They become very comfortable with the big picture of the markets. and they become very comfortable with the big picture because they realize what they're trying to do in the marketplace is actually on the lowest end of the risk scale. They're not the ones putting up 100 grand to try to make $1,000. They're not the ones risking everything they've got to try to hit a lottery ticket. They either win it all or they lose it all. That's not what we do here. It's not. That is the opposite of what we do here. We take the minimal amount of risk possible to make the maximum amount of money on a constant basis. And I can tell you, there is no better feeling knowing that you hauled in 5 grand last week on some options that you rolled over, and you know that next week you have options coming up that you're going to be dealing with, and you know that by the end of next week you get another 3 to 5 grand coming in cash into your account. This constant cash flow through your account that keeps coming in just makes it so reassuring to be an investor. Versus the vibe that many of you were dealing with years ago before we got together, where you were following the hottest rumor on Wall Street, and you were worried that the price you were paying for the stock you bought that used to trade at like $15-20 a share is now trading at 40 to 50 a share. You're hoping it goes to 70, 80. You're not the ground floor guy. They've already made triple their money. You're now paying premium dollars, hoping you're not the last one in before they turn off the lights and the party's over. That is a terrifying position to be in, absolutely terrifying, because so many of you have had the experience where you've gotten into the hot stock of the year, the hot stock of the week, the month, whatever the trend, you bought in, and everything was rolling along, and you were up 10, 15, 20% on your investment. Everything was going, and you were being told, oh, it's going to double from here. Oh, you haven't even started yet. And you didn't sell out. You had no plan to sell out. You didn't know how to sell out. You didn't know where, when, whatever, what reason. You certainly had no plan and no idea that if you were to sell at a profit, what to do with the money now. And some of you who did sell at profits back in the day would roll into the next position in a hurry because you were in a hurry to be into something. You felt you always had to be into something. And you made the fatal mistake on the second move. The first move was the correct move. The second move wiped you out back to 1/10 of what you once had. This has happened gazillions of times in the markets, gazillions of times. And I'm trying to keep you away from all of that kind of angst and speculation. If you are an option writer, you are here for a marathon, and you are taking incremental steps to higher profits and higher cash flows. And what happens here is people figure out after 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, 12 months, they begin to figure out that, wait a minute, just a second here. The first 3 months I was with this guy, I was writing options and I was bringing in $500, $800, $300. I remember the first time I brought in $1,000 in premium money. I remember that. That was like, whoo, huge. Can't believe I just brought in $1,000. I rolled over a contract that was expiring. I bought it back and I wrote another one and I brought in 1,200 fresh dollars. I couldn't believe the amount of money. This is when I first started. Here it is a year down the road, and we're dealing with $5,000 and $10,000 at a time, and I don't even think about it. It's not even a big deal to me anymore. The fact that I can generate this kind of revenue on a weekly, bi-weekly, month, I can't believe how much money I'm handling in my account and how much of that I get to keep versus what I did at the beginning of this whole option thing, let alone before, when it was a goddamn nightmare. I sleep at night. I can't wait for Monday mornings. I hate it when the market is closed. I love being part of the community of this channel. I love hanging out with these people every day. I love being part of the Discord group. I love it when he does classes. I can't wait to have another one-on-one with this guy. I thought I would do one-on-one once a year with this guy. Maybe once a year I do a one-on-one. Then I figured out, no, I got to do one like every 3 months. And it's like, no, I got to do one every month because I spend $400 to hang out with him, and that next month I'm going to be handling $40,000 of revenues coming into my business. This is chump change compared to what I'm generating. And then there are those of you who I see very often who are handling far, far more than you ever thought possible. And we continue on down the road. Like I say, it doesn't matter what level you're at, what level of knowledge you have, what size your account is. Step by step by step, we will build it out, build it out, build it out. You've just got to want to do it, and you've got to want to take control of this truck. Get behind the wheel and turn that steering wheel, learn how the pedals work, and let's get going down the road together. Again, thank you all for being here. It's great to see you. Let's find out what's going on. I haven't talked about markets. Let's see what's happening right now. I see the Dow is down, 17 points at this point. Is this a disaster? Actually, no, it's not. Let's take a look at some other markets and quotes and see what's going on. We've been open now for 24 minutes, and I'm yammering away. We're up 16 on the Dow. We're down 16 on the Dow. We're up 5 on S&P, and we're up 70 on NASDAQ. We were positive on NASDAQ this morning, and we're more positive now, half a percentage point. But it's positive. We'll take it. The Dow's down 0.5 of a percentage point. Nothing big. Oil is down 14 cents. That's what oil is doing. Okay. Stocks we love. Matterport unchanged. Now it's up a penny. Good. NVIDIA up $11 to $4.57. SoFi down 1 penny. Rocket Lab up 19 cents, $7.58, climbing again. GameStop down 43 cents at $22.61. AI up 4 cents. Smart Rent, no change. Owens Corning, just to watch that one, up a dollar. ATIP down a dime. Unity up 18 cents. Tesla at 270.59 is up 153 this morning. Apple up a dollar. Google up 36 cents. Moderna up 155. Cisco's up 19 cents. Pfizer down 9. IBM down 34. HPQ up 31. Microsoft up 197. ME down 6 cents at 190. Amazon is up 16 cents. Spire at 65 cents, up 2 pennies. Home Depot up 174. Vanik Vectors up $2. Netflix up $1.13. Adobe down $3. Goldman down $1. Boeing down $4.32. Meta up $3.40. Target down $1.40. JP Morgan down $1.60. Costco down $1.18. Costco up $1.18. Walmart down $19. Disney down $1. American Airlines down $49. DraftKings up $119. Mixed bag. As we said earlier, market on the Dow now down 7.7 points. It's a nothing burger on the Dow. We're up 70 on NASDAQ. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Let's see what's going on here. Marcus number 138, thank you. Always be writing is the question mark. Always be writing is a good motto. We will always be looking for the right option to write for the right scenario, the right time. Saturday coming up, we're going to be talking about some writing strategies you had no idea you could do, or you thought you could do but didn't know how, or you would like to do if only you could figure out the way to understand. We got stuff to talk about on Saturday. Big time. We got a lot of stuff to cover here. It's going to be unbelievable. SoFi now is up 2 cents. Yes. Rocket Lab up 16. GameStop down 30. That is the market this morning as I see it. Welcome all to the show. Welcome to the channel this morning. This is something else. Linda B, what a week, guys. Awesome class on Saturday and SoFi earnings on Monday. I'm a happy girl. There you go. What else is going on? Folks are talking about all kinds of stuff here. A lot of folks talking to each other, which is great. Lisa says here, Lisa Sasa says, Uncle Bruce, I recently saw the Back to the Future musical in London. Ticket was only £20. Quite a fun show. I might have to catch that ourselves. Love to see that. Over here, a comment from Bobby Atkinson. I remember my first VCR player recorder. 3 different packs you had to carry: the recorder, the player, and the battery. Oh man, I remember renting My first VCR player, Jen and I went to a local store right where we live right now, this apartment building, about 4 blocks away from us, 3 blocks away from us, used to be a mom and pop shop that they went into VCR rentals and tape rentals. This is the days before Blockbuster. And this would have been what year would this have been? 83, 84, maybe 82, 83. So just before Canada got into Blockbuster. We went into the store and we saw these movies for rent, and we didn't have a VCR. So we're going, well, you need a VCR to watch these, obviously. But they had 5 VCRs for rent, and each one came with a canvas bag with a shoulder strap. And the VCR was this big, clunky, 1 foot tall, 2 foot wide, and deep electronic unit with a cable that you plugged into the wall, and then a cable from the back of the unit to the back of your TV that you screwed in, kind of like the cable television cable. And it came with a remote control on a wire. And the store owner would show you how it worked. And so he said, okay, let me show you. So he'd take it out of the bag. You take your unit that you're going to take home, make sure it's working, and he'd plug it in, and he'd grab the movie you want to rent tonight, or the 3 movies you're renting for the weekend, or whatever the deal was. I think it was $35 or $40. You could rent the unit and 3 or 4 movies for the weekend. And we thought, let's give it a try. And he turned it on, and he plugged it into a TV that he had nearby. And then he popped the cassette in, and it disappeared, and hit play. And he said, this is how you do it. And then the movie started. He said, and you could fast forward. And so he hit the fast forward, and then he would play it. And then you could rewind it as much as you wanted, play it again. We thought you could rewind and rewatch a scene of a movie where you didn't hear the line, couldn't understand. What did he say? What did she say? Wow. So we took it, and we brought it home. We couldn't wait to get to our apartment, plug this thing into our TV and put it on top there. Which movie you want to watch first? We got 4 of them. 4 movies. What do you want to watch? Well, let's watch Arthur, the movie Arthur from 1980-81. I think we had Arthur, the movie 10. Can't remember the other movies we rented. Oh my gosh, our early 80s. So in it went, and our 26-inch color television had this movie playing on it. Unbelievable. No commercials. Be kind, rewind. Oh my gosh. The world changed dramatically. And there you go. What can I say? Went from HDMI to 8K, even quicker, says Credit Savage, and cable, says Touchgrass. Oh my gosh, isn't that something? Anyway, welcome to the party, pals. Nice to have you here. It's great to see you guys. Oh my, we're down 24 points on the Dow Jones right now. We're up 5 on S&P, and we're up 70 on NASDAQ. That's what's going on right now, everybody. We've got 144 thumbs ups. Now, the title of today's show, I should really talk about the fact that the title of today's show was 25% of the rich have 25% of their portfolio invested in, and then I went ... And I didn't even tell you what it is. I think I should tell you what it is. The well-to-do, more and more of the high-end investors out there have 25% of their wealth in cash. 75% invested in assets, stocks, bonds, houses, artwork, whatever, racehorses, collector cars, whatever they're into. 25% of their portfolios are now becoming cash. Now, why would someone with a $2 million account have $500,000 cash when this market is doing what this market is doing? Well, because they don't watch this show. They don't watch this channel. They don't know I exist. If they know you were here and I was here and what we talk about all the time, they wouldn't have $500,000 cash lying around. They would have their dough into other assets generating far more money writing options. But that's beside the point. What are they doing with their $500,000? Well, they're sitting there going, I can buy a guaranteed investment certificate for 5% interest right now. Why don't I do that? And so they're putting their dough with their favorite bank or SoFi or whoever, and they're putting their money to work between 4 and 5% interest, because they're thinking, I could buy IBM and get a 5% yield on the stock, but I can get a 5% yield from my regional banker or from SoFi or Bank of America, or whatever. If I go in there and talk to the manager about a GIC program, maybe not Bank of America, but maybe Wells Fargo, or maybe a Chase Manhattan, or wherever I have to go, I can find a GIC that'll pay me 4 to 5% interest on my money. I don't have to do anything for that. And a lot of these folks are saying to themselves, I can buy T-bills. I can buy the 2-year treasury from the United States government, and they're paying me almost 5% on the money. I don't trust those guys, who do I trust? That's what they're doing. They're bringing in $20,000, $25,000 a year in income from a quarter of their wealth, and the rest of their wealth is over here. Now, there are some folks who don't have $2 million. They have 10 million, 15 million, 40 million, and a quarter of it is in cash. You got 10 million bucks in cash at 5% interest. Hello. You're bringing in 500,000 a year. That's 10,000 a week in interest. Can you live on 10,000 a week as an upper middle class American? I think you can. 10,000 a week, I think you can get by nicely, comfortably with that kind of cash. Why wouldn't they put a quarter of their dough into something like that? And that covers all the basics. And the other 3/4 is in riskier investments. Maybe at their house, a yacht, I don't know, whatever. That's what's going on. An airplane, a depreciating airplane. Jen, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
We're okay. I think we're okay.
You think?
I had a rant today.
Oh dear. Who were you yelling at?
I'm tired. I'm exhausted from this rant.
Who were you?
I had to cover 50 years of ground on this rant.
What did she say to you when you were 15?
It wasn't even a girl. It wasn't even about a girl. Oh my God. No, it was the rant had to do with what Wall Street is all giddy about today.
Well, what are they all
giddy
about today?
They're so happy on Wall Street. This morning in the pre-market, Wall Street was giddy. They were beside themselves with glee.
Okay.
General Motors exceeded expectations, which I don't know. Did they make less money this year than last year, but they exceeded the number? I don't know if that's
well, and you don't know how low that bar is now.
Right. Yeah. But that's not the giddy part. The giddy part was for the second half of the year.
Yeah.
GM expects to make more net profit by about $1 billion than what they previously thought.
Wow.
So that's what New York is getting.
They previously thought.
Yeah. So GM is saying, we think we're going to make $1 billion more in the second half of the year than we predicted we would make.
They're shutting down lines and letting people go.
Right. Wall Street doesn't ask how. They just say, great. Well, I went on my rant and I said, I don't care what it is you follow. If your father, who, or your grandfather before you, your mother, your grandmother, if they were a sports fan 50 years ago, okay, they talked about sports like you talk about sports today. If they're political junkies, they talk about politics then like you talk about politics now. If you are a fan of science fiction books or movies or TV shows, 50 years ago, today, same thing. Okay, it's all just, what's the title of the thing?
Lord of the Rings begets Lord of the Rings.
See? You want to talk about fashion? Women and men talking about fashion 50 years ago versus today? This is the same thing.
Coco.
It's just fashion.
Coco.
Wall Street is excited today about the same things that excited Wall Street 50 years ago.
Oh.
And General Motors does not disappoint. Neither does Ford or other North American car manufacturers. They do not disappoint because they do exactly the same thing today that they did 50 years ago. 50 years ago, if you asked the president of General Motors or Ford, what is your mission for your corporation?
Their special purpose?
What is your special purpose? Simple. We give the customer what they want. We
Okay.
build the cars and vehicles they want to buy.
Right.
Because if we do that, they buy those vehicles. And
Right.
if we produce those vehicles and they buy those vehicles, we make money. So we produce what America wants, Canada wants, whatever. Today, the CEO of GM was on Bloomberg television for an interview to review how you doing. And you upped your guidance. Why? How is that happening? We are producing what the American people want. We are delivering the products they want us to deliver. What is that product? Pickup trucks and SUVs.
Now, are any of those EVs? Do they talk about that?
No. They covered it at the end of the conversation. But where the money is coming from, where the profits are coming from and are going to come from, gasoline burning pickup trucks and SUVs. The big ones, not the little compact cars and stuff. No, there's no money in that.
Have you not looked around our streets?
That's what I talked about. I talked about what's on our roads.
Every second person has a truck. We are a truck country.
But downstairs,
we're not trucks. We're F-150s.
That's right.
It's very specific.
GMCs and F-150s. What vehicles? How many pickup trucks are in our underground parkade?
No, they're in the above parkade because it's higher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have maybe 10 spots.
The underground.
10 spots to park with on our upper level. 50
because
or
not
100
only
downstairs.
do we have trucks, but the people who buy them might have a deficiency in a certain area. And so they lift their trucks and put big tires on it.
What deficiency are you talking about, Auntie Jen?
It's just something that all women know.
Something that all women know, that guys who buy big vehicles and powerful engines
or guys who are your age that are now driving a Lamborghini.
Or Mustangs or Corvettes.
And when you see me in person, you can ask me what we say whenever we see that, because I can't say it on the air.
I was being the nice guy today, okay? I've been on the air here for an hour and 36 minutes. I'm the nice guy. I didn't mention any of this stuff to you this morning.
But I would really hope in those SUVs, which are so handy, SUVs are handy, it's on a truck chassis, everybody's happy to make them, that they are EVs.
Yeah.
More and more they got to be EVs. But boy, that makes that truck heavy. Makes it real heavy when you're going through the horrible, when it rains, our fields turn to
muck,
paste,
quagmire.
Yeah.
Farmers, the biggest beef that farmers are going to have about electrically powered equipment is the weight of the equipment. The tires are going to be very wide
them out on your land.
to be able to go out onto the field. If the field is somewhat moist, you're going to sink into the quagmire. So you got to have super wide tires, super big treads. And is that a vehicle you could drive on the road into town? Maybe not. Right. Now you've got an electric vehicle on the farm and a gas vehicle or another electric vehicle to go to town with. This is where farmers are going.
Maybe that's why GM's happy. They have to buy two.
Maybe. But I will tell you why GM is delighted.
One to go to the bar, one to go to the cow.
GM is delighted because GM produces vehicles pretty well the same way they've been producing them since the 60s, the 70s, and 80s.
Hey, ain't broke, don't fix it.
Look, a pickup truck from 1985, you could have bought one with air conditioning in 1985.
Yeah.
Okay? You could have bought it with four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. You could have bought an extended cab pretty well in 85. By 85, yes. By 85, yes. You could have certainly bought a leather interior by 1990. Today, you've got the moonroof. You've got the fold-down middle thing for holding a laptop. You've got all the electronic plug-in stuff. But all of this advancement in these vehicles, whether they're big SUVs or good old pickup trucks, these gadgets inside these units, now that's automatic climate control and all that, it's been around for decades.
Oh yeah.
Decades. Mercedes had climate control in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, and you used to be able to get like the Eddie Bauer edition.
Yes, and the King
Oh,
Cross
my
edition. You still get that.
goodness.
You can still buy the high end.
They were
top-
luxury in there.
Let me ask you this question. Here's the
You were
question.
afraid to sit in those things.
This is the question that was on Bloomberg this morning.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to buy the top end, high end GMC pickup truck with every bell and whistle,
Okay.
extended cab and everything else,
Like today.
how much American money?
Today.
Yeah, how much American would it be at a dealership to buy
Okay.
that rate? What is
Okay.
the
You
suggested
want everything.
retail price of
With
a GMC
everything
in
on it.
American money?
Everything. Okay. I'm going. Can I give you something to something?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to go around 100.
It's not bad.
So can I go like 90 to 110 in there
That's-
somewhere?
This gal,
Hey, I got relatives that are farmers.
yeah, she ain't stupid. 91,000 US dollars.
91,000.
So that's
Wow.
120
Yeah,
Canadian.
Yeah.
110, 120 Canadian.
Then you go buy the insurance.
And the gas. And the other toys you add on it, the extra add-on accessories on top of that. Yeah.
You want
Yeah.
to pull something?
You want to pull something. You want to have a cover on the top of your box.
Can I tell a joke?
So that no. Uh-oh. Is it suitable for the air?
Well, it is.
Okay.
Why do cowboys have big balls?
Why do cowboys have big
Balls?
balls? Why do cowboys have big balls? Okay.
Because they pull big trailers.
Because they pull big trailers. That's why. Haven't you seen those big balls on the bottom of the hitch when they're driving down the highway without a trailer on it?
That's why.
That's why they have big
See,
balls.
so that was clean.
So it's kind of a
It
clean
was
joke.
your mind.
It was your mind. You viewers of this. There's
That's
100
right.
and how many dirty people are here right now? 171 of you folks out there with your filthy minds.
Okay, I'm just drawing the picture.
She's
here.
just
Let's look at
you
it.
colored in the photograph. That's what you did. That's what happened. We're only down to 148 thumbs ups now. There we go. There go the thumbs ups out the door. There you have it. Let's just see what people are saying here. JJ said earlier, I feel like we're all in the back of Uncle Bruce's station wagon.
That's right. Hostages in the back seat.
That's right. Oh man. Lame duck. We were talking about before you came in. We were talking about the old days, and you will recall this. We lived in this apartment building,
Okay.
and it was the first time,
Okay.
and it was pre-child,
Yes.
and we walked from here to 17th Ave, 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
And we went into a store that
Right.
was at the time a mom and pop kind of shop
Okay.
that had VCR tapes, and they rented VCRs,
Yes.
and we could rent one for the weekend.
Yes. Blockbuster.
Well,
Well,
this is pre.
No, this was
is
pre-Blockbuster.
The first time we
It was a mom
ever,
and dad.
the first
Mom and
time
pop.
we
Yeah.
ever had a VCR in our apartment
Yeah.
was a
We
rental
rented it.
from a mom and pop guy down the street.
And I think we might have had it as a throw-in because we rented like 4 videos or something.
Actually, it was the other way around.
the
If
other
you
way?
rent
Oh.
the unit, you could rent
You
3,
could-
4 videos for
okay.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up with, I think, 4 videos and the VCR, and it was about $40.
Yeah.
$40 in 1983. $40 to fill the car with gas. And we were driving at that time. We were still driving our Beamer. The BMW to fill it up at that time would have run me about $18 to $20.
And how much to go to the theater?
A movie theater
Yeah.
would have been $6-8 each,
Yeah,
$6
thinking.
each. So to fill up the tank with gas was $18. We spent $40
Well, that's so we
to
didn't.
rent and a VCR and 4 movies.
That's so we didn't have to fill up the gas because we didn't move for that
we
weekend.
didn't leave the house.
We just watched the movies over and over.
But think about what a tank of gasoline costs you today, and double it. All right. So if your tank is 15 gallons, and you're in America, and you're paying $3.50 a gallon for gas, let's just say that's $52.50. Double it, $105 to rent a VCR and 4 movies for the weekend. Would you pay that much money today, that's what we paid then.
But
Just to put it in perspective.
it was pretty cutting edge
Unbelievable.
because the videos, some of them were still in the movie theater.
Oh, the movies were still playing.
They were still there.
Couldn't believe it. Oh,
And you had to get there quick on a Friday because they only had so many of the good ones.
they only had 2 or 3 copies
Yeah.
of these small mom and pop shops. Only had 3 copies of the latest movie that came out.
Yeah.
If you weren't there by 3 in the afternoon on Friday, you missed it. It was gone till Sunday night. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Market's over. We got to get to the.
So Lame
video
Ducks,
store.
Lame Ducks saying my parents owned a video store. It was such a great time, the greatest time. You guys had it all. You had it
he would've
made.
seen everything.
You had the movie under the counter before we got a chance to get it.
Boy, his friends really liked
Oh man!
him.
And they said that we would go to the movie distributors and spend $8,000 a week
Whoa.
into new and old movies VHS.
Yeah.
8,000 a week they would spend to buy the merchandise to rent to you guys. Oh my God!
And then Blockbuster came and
Richard
ate everybody.
Richard Carlin, good morning, Auntie Jen. Larry
Morning,
Titus,
Ricky.
good morning, Auntie Jen. JR,
Yeah,
good morning, Auntie Jen.
JR.
Isn't that incredible,
And
those
this is
days?
the second one. Who's the second one?
We've got Larry Titus,
Oh, good
Richard
morning,
Carlin, and JR.
Who's Larry?
They're saying hi to Auntie Jen. Jen is saying hi to you. It's incredible.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing these people.
Jennifer and I once went into a store, another one of these mom and pop shops. This one was in Chinatown on a Friday night. And we walked in and we saw it was a video kind of rental shop right on Center Street near downtown Calgary, not there anymore. And they had the laser players. They had the laser discs as big as an album.
Blu-ray. Isn't that a Blu-ray?
No. That was before.
Oh.
This is the first version of the laser disc player. And you would lift the lid. I think you lifted the lid. You'd put this thing in like an album,
Like
and you would
record.
close the lid, and then you would hit the play button, and the laser would be
Yeah.
showing you this movie, and you would have a
Laser.
digital kind of a digital quality format. I thought
Yeah.
this is something we should buy. This is the future.
Yeah.
And we were right. The future actually was DVDs,
The future, Mark.
but the future was the discs were this big in diameter, not this big in
That's
diameter.
right. Yeah.
That was a 10 years down the road future. But so we didn't buy it. We never rented one of those, but we did rent the VCR, and we bought a VCR because when Blockbuster showed up,
Absolutely.
they were renting VCRs for like $20 for the weekend because prices were dropping now because of competition, and you could get 4 movies at the same time.
And didn't we have a TiVo for a while?
We had a TiVo box in
I can't
the
even remember what it
90s.
did. I feel like we didn't use it very much.
Yeah, we didn't use it. That was the days just before your cable company gave you a box on your TV that let you freeze television shows
Right.
and record TV shows. We had the
Because
TiVo.
TiVo let you do that.
TiVo let you do.
And we've never gone back.
And we
The ability. I want the
don't-
ability to pause life.
I
and
don't
rewind.
remember what we did with the TiVo.
I don't know. We
I'm
probably
gonna-
gave it to a nephew or
Maybe
something.
we gave it away, or we sold it for $20, bought it for $300, sold for $20. But then the cable company would just rent you the box, and you could pause live television,
Yeah.
go to the bathroom, come back, and continue on. You could rerun the hockey game back to the start of the game, and then watch the game and skip through commercials, and keep. You could do that. Made the Super Bowl a lot more entertaining, although Super Bowl commercials are pretty good. Yes, I remember those laser discs, says Cindy B. I remember those laser discs. We were a Zenith distributor. VHS players were a money maker.
Oh,
Oh
see
my
another
God,
one.
Bobby, the amount
They had
of
good TV
movie
at home.
posters in the basement of those shops.
Yeah.
Nice money now if you can find those posters
And
in
the
mint
stand-ups,
condition.
Right? The stand-ups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lame Duck. If someone bought a VCR from us, you got 20 free movie rentals. If you bought a VCR,
Whoa.
you could buy a VCR and get 20 movie rentals. That's like 4 a week for the next 5 weeks.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, that way the kid gets to pick one too.
But in those days, you remember those days where the VCR used to be $500 to $1,000 in the
Yes.
early days, and then they were like $350 to $500 for years, and then they finally came down to the 200 level, and then they went to $150 to $300,
Yeah.
and then they hit $50 each.
Yeah.
The
cable.
VCRs, $50 to $150 for a VCR player. and people were
We
selling
still
in the
have our
garage.
VCR.
People were selling in their garage sales
there's
VCRs. They
garage
paid
sales, yeah.
$800 for. They were trying to get $50 for them and couldn't get $50 because you could buy a new one for $50.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
in 10 years or something. Unbelievable. And then the
Yeah.
DVDs came out, and oh my
We
gosh.
still have our DVD player.
Well, not the originals.
No.
And we don't have our original VCR.
No, but we do have a lot of VCR tapes, some of which we have put onto disc.
We have thrown away many VCR tapes with our storage
Well,
unit
because
down
they've
south.
been destroyed.
We
They were
ditched
in
so
heat,
many.
and
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah, it's unbelievable. Bobby, I brought my Fire Stick WT illegal IPTV into Cuba last week. She fired up and was working just fine. How about
Nice,
that?
thank
Working
you. Yes,
out of
I'll be
Cuba.
taking mine with me.
We have one of those.
Yeah.
We'll be taking it to Europe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Unbelievable. The technology.
It's
Incredible.
so happy.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. The old days.
The
old
days.
days. I was saying to the folks here, the one item I can truly say changed the future of technology.
Okay.
That changed the world.
Like ever?
Has
Or in your lifetime?
This one, many over the years, but this one particular invention was shown to the world on one day, and within a year, the world had forever changed direction. And to this day, this invention, which I'm going to have you guess what it is, this invention is still changing not only the world, has changed our life completely.
Has changed our life
economically,
changed
and our daily life.
The internet.
No,
No.
not that invention. No. It's a device.
It's a device.
Yep, and it was
Is
introduced.
it bigger than a bread box?
No, it was introduced to the world.
It's an iPhone.
In one live broadcast.
iPhone.
Yep.
iPhone.
The Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
Steve
absolutely.
Jobs. This.
Do you want to make brown fuzzy water all your life, or do you want to change the world?
This. Not this one.
No.
The first version of this one.
Yeah, because now it
changed
that
everything.
they just had their 10th anniversary.
No, 20th.
Year.
We think 03.
03?
Yeah.
Like
it's like 15 or 20 years
old. It's like
now.
You can't remember
life before it. I remember the phone I had before my first iPhone was a flip phone.
Yes.
And it had a screen. It could take photos.
And you could walkie-talkie.
No, that was before then. That was the one before that.
Oh, okay.
We had that one in Palm
The
Desert.
Motorola, you could walkie-talkie.
Yeah. But I had a flip phone that you could take photos with, not videos. It could do text messages in a very cryptic way.
Well, you had to type everything.
Yeah,
There was no guessing.
The first iPhone I got was the iPhone 4.
Oh, I don't know.
It wasn't the first one. It
know.
was about 2009, 9 or 10. I got my first iPhone, and it could shoot video. It shot photos. It had the internet, had stock quotes, but I theoretically could watch videos on YouTube on it. As a matter of fact, yes, I could, and I did, and I could download and play music from videos on YouTube
and
in
there
my
are a number
store.
Of sites that let you download anything you could think of.
Well, that's true.
The Napsters, the LimeWire.
That too.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know, it didn't click in at that time. In 2009 and 10, it didn't occur to me that device and the apps being created now to really utilize this, and the apps for our laptops and our big ass iPads, I didn't realize that YouTube, that was alive or created back in the day, would be where I would end up in 2017.
No.
I didn't realize that in 2017 I would be a full-time YouTuber for my travel channel and ultimately have this channel.
Well, and that's for over a decade we've been telling high school kids that the job that you're going to have when you get out of school in 5 years hasn't been created.
It hasn't been created yet. Back when our daughter Jennifer Jr. was in high school. That's right. That would have been 2000 and 2000. What was her high school years?
She's a 206 graduate.
206 graduate. Oh my God. So she was from 202 to 206. Back at that time, parents were telling the kids the job that you're likely going to be the most successful at economically hasn't been created yet. And it was true. It was so true. Although in our case, her case, she became a copywriter, which have been around since the 50s. But you need copywriters for today's world versus then. Well, you still do. But
chat, do you?
I had no idea when my daughter was in high school between 2002 and 2006 that my future would be completely altered by 2017 and again in 2021 when I started coming on live with you guys. That no inkling at all. Even 5 years before, no inkling that this would be.
I can't figure out what that humming is, so I'm going to go and look and see what it is.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Well, thank you, Auntie Jen, for being here. Did anyone else say hi? People were guessing while I was talking. Let's see here. Here we go. Lame Duck says, if someone bought a VCR at Penny's or Sears, IR Aaron says iPhone. Yes. Pulse Guitar, the iPhone. Cindy B, iPad. Da Jimmer is here. Hey, Da Jimmer, how you doing? You talking about iPhones, Sarah? What are you talking about here, Willis? You be talking about iPhones, Willis? I got a Gen 1 iPhone, couldn't even take video. That's right. Yeah. Hawkeye Pierce, number 157 thumbs ups. Pulse Guitar. At first, I thought he was talking about the electric toothbrush that changed the world.
The electric guitar.
The iPhone. The absolute when Steve Jobs came on stage, and he showed a photo of the iPhone versus the phones you could buy at that time.
Started with the iPod.
With the Blackberries and the flip ups and the Motorola's and all that.
Yeah, to have all that music on
and he showed his iPod. Yeah. So what he did was he said, we have a device that combines the iPad, the phone, and the internet. And then he showed a photo of the iPad they were selling with a telephone dial. And a phone on the top and some kind of computer thing, and the audience roared, laughed their butts off. Thought, well, those are all three combined into one. You can see this video of Steve Jobs showing off the first ever iPhone, and then he pulled out of his pant pocket and held it in his hand, and brains exploded in the audience. I mean, there was liquid flying into the air from every head, like watching the movie Martians with Martin Short and Jack Nicholson when they played Walt Whitman. How the brains exploded. That's what happened. Walt Whitman music started playing, and people's brains exploded in that room. 4,000 of them when he held up the iPhone. He said, "This is it right here," and he then showed it. A working model on a podium on the side of the stage where you would look at the big screen as to what he was doing on this phone, because he had cameras above him aiming down over his shoulder as he held the iPhone, which was connected by wire to the system so that nothing would glitch. There was no glitch going to happen. There were no cell phone towers all over the place. They built AT&T installed a cell phone tower behind the arena where he announced and showed off the iPhone. The cell phone tower was 150 feet away from the phone to make sure that when he made a phone call to someone in the audience using the phone, his engineer was right there. And when he was calling Tim Cook on the phone, today's Tim Cook, he was in the office, and Jobs was at the arena calling him at the office, and was sending him a photo and sending him text messages at the same time. It was all done live. Changed the world as we knew it completely. That was an invention that changed the world. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, the big E. Neat. There you go. Thank you all so much for being here. Yep, the world has changed forevermore. And here we are because of the iPhone and YouTube. Here we are. Your trading options, your world has completely changed. Your economic future has completely been altered because of the iPhone, the ability for you to trade on platforms through these iPhones. Your world, your future, your economic future has completely altered. Every stockbroker lost their jobs within a decade of the creation of the iPhone. Almost every stockbroker lost their jobs because you could do the orders yourselves. And here we are. And here's an old stockbroker talking to you about how the market works through the very invention that eliminated stockbrokers. Not that I was going to be a stockbroker in 2023. Oh, no, 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 no. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Anyway, there you go. Here we are. We're at the 2-hour mark of our show. Thank you all for being here today and coming down memory lane with me. There's 138 of you brave souls left. The rest of all pissed off because they don't want to hear the old man talk about the past. Jeff Dinan, I've been a member for 28 months, chilling with Uncle Bruce level. Subscriber number 25, member 141, thumbs up 258. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being a follower of this channel for all that time. 28 months. I appreciate it so much. Thank you all who have been here from the beginning. Wing Commander, I've been a member for 25 months. Gold, bagel level. Take this. How about that? Thank you very much, Wing Commander, for letting the world know how long you've been here as a follower of this channel. You guys who do that, I just love these. I really do. I got to tell you, though, I really appreciate it when you guys pop these up at the beginning of my show, at the very beginning, when there are 200 people here, right as we're opening for trading, because then the most possible viewers notice this banner coming across. Right now, there's 138 who can see it, but when there's 230 people here or more, this is powerful. But thank you so much. Nonetheless, I thank you all for your support of this channel. 162 thumbs ups. We need 38 more from the rerunners. Hopefully you folks on the rerun can help us out and get us over the hump to 200 thumbs ups again today. Keep an eye on those markets. We're up 10 on the Dow, but only 10. We're up 5 on S&P, I guess. We're hanging in there, kind of, sort of. U.S. consumer confidence hits its highest level in 2 years. What's next for the U.S. economy and the Fed? Those are questions coming out right now on the markets. We've got SoFi at 946, unchanged on the day. We're up 54 on NASDAQ. We're up 4.5 on S&P. Thank you to those of you who are registering for the class this Saturday. We will keep getting you registered in, and we'll get you in there. Thank you all for doing that. I look forward to this Saturday's class with you live. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to cover a lot of ground here. Thank you all. Hector, thank you. Neat emojis. Neat. Thank you very much for being here. NVIDIA's up $11. Matterport up 2 pennies. SoFi's up a penny. Rocket Lab up 31 to 770 on your Rocket Lab. GameStop down just 30 cents. AI up 64. We got ATIP down a dime. Unity up 31. Tesla down 233. Apple up 66 cents. Google down 17 cents. Moderna is up 75 cents. Cisco is up 28. Pfizer up 12. IBM down 3 cents. HPQ up 55. Microsoft up 164. Amazon down 2 cents. Oh my gosh, nothing's going on. There's nothing happening. It's a quiet burger day today, but keep an eye on your options and your premiums and enjoy the show. Thank you all so much for being part of it with us today. Richard, thank you. Matthew, thank you. Neat, I say to all of you out there with the knee emojis, the Knights of Knee. Hopefully they'll take good care of you for the rest of the day. Thank you all so very much. I will see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern for the Prime Gold Bagel member Trade Alert show. And we'll see you all at 8:30 for the regular show right here tomorrow. And tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Eastern time for Gold Bagel members only. You guys, Prime Time Live with Uncle Bruce. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, we'll cover the markets and what happened so far this week. All right, guys, have a great one the rest of your day. Larry Titus, thank you for the knee emojis. Knee, he says. We'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Enjoy your iPhones. Enjoy the future. Marty, the future. See you later.